I did it. I finally did it. And I'm so excited. I'm giddy, I'm happy, and I have so much to share. I am so giddy about this video because it is all about my new PC that I finally pulled the trigger on. So in this video, I'm going to tell you all about my configuration for my PC, but I'll also detail my journey and how I decided on what pieces I wanted to have in my PC. And with prices already dropping and expected to be dropping up to 25% in the next year, it might be time that you begin your own research in getting a PC. If you're looking to build your first computer and don't know where to start, that might be why you stumbled on this video. So let me tell you about my specs, my journey, and how I configured my PC. I'm going to be transparent in this video while I share my specs, my configuration, and the ultimate cost of everything. So here's my spec video. Let's get started. I'm a Mac kid. I've always owned Macs. It's the only kind of computer I'm familiar with as a creator, as an educator. Macs seem to be the most streamlined and easy to use interface for computers in classrooms, in education, in design. So I've always owned Macs. In fact, I've been Mac exclusive until I bought an HP about 5 years ago. Just a little laptop for school. I liked it because it had a touchpad and I really wanted to start drawing. And that's why I bought my PC, is I want to create content, I want to create educational, entertaining content, I want to make my YouTube videos, I stream on Twitch. I really like creating digital designs, I build websites, I do a lot of stuff on the computer that my Mac from 2017, right, was just not keeping up with. So it was needed and it was time. So I started my journey looking at PC parts and configurations and studying what I need in a personal computer. Back in August in 2020, and I've been wanting a computer before that, but honestly, I just needed to do the research and the prices were skyrocketing, so it just didn't seem like a good time. So I'll make a pros and cons list of PC versus Mac in another video after I use my PC for a little bit longer. I barely had it a week. So let's take a look at some of the specs. I'm going to walk you through each part that I bought. And keep in mind, the prices are going down. So if you like these pieces, maybe bookmark them. I'll drop the links in the bio. So bookmark them if you like them. Keep your eye on them. Because I have a feeling all of the articles that I've been reading the last week have indicated that PC-related parts, especially graphics cards, will be dropping about 25% in the next 6 months to a year. So hang tight. Okay. So this is the computer that led me to build my own. I live in California. Just for transparency, taxes are a little bit different, so keep that in mind as I'm talking about pricing. I was gonna buy this pre-built, and the reviews are good on it. The price point is high, but not as high as, say, a new Studio Mac with the monitor and all that I was gonna get. So I went in to buy this computer. I already read the reviews. It matched all of the specs I wanted except the PSU. I wanted a bigger PSU. This guy, it comes with only 750 watts. And if you know much about computers or you don't know much about computers, I gotta tell you, that's not a lot of watts to operate a big PC, especially if you plan on adding to it. This PC on surface level is awesome. It has the big boy specs I was looking for, a big graphics card, a big processor, mesh for a casing so it can breathe. But the wattage was a little scary. In the reviews, everyone was saying if you plan on configuring it further, modifying it anymore, you're gonna want a bigger power supply unit simply because you want to protect your investment. If you're gonna spend all this money on graphics cards and PC parts and your time and investments, you gotta protect it. So 750 watts for long term just wasn't good for this PC. So after I bought it, I knew I wanted to buy a new PSU, and I had watched a few YouTube videos about how to do that, but it looked very scary considering everything's attached to the motherboard and it would require some extensive taking apart and putting together. Considering I was going to spend like $3,300 on this PC, I did not want to be responsible for ruining it. My wife would be angry, but aside from that, I wanted to get a professional to do it for me. So I went over to the build your own section inside of the Micro Center where I was buying this PC. One of the sales technicians, and mind you, they do get paid on commissions. As I was wandering around this build your own section, I was looking for a PSU because I was going to take it to the technician so they can put it in for me. I was informed there that that would cost about $400 because the actual PSU itself was kind of expensive, about 128, and then the labor itself would be another 100. And then again, we have taxes in California that are pretty high, so another 20% tacked on. We're looking about 350 to 400 just for labor and parts, because it is an extensive job. And that was not exciting for me. I had just spent all this money on a PC, and to find out that it was actually a lot harder of a job to change the PSU was very disappointing. I looked at my wife and I said, I should return this. And I did. And I returned it on the spot. And I got store credit, and I built my own PC based on the specs and the research that I had done. So let me show you my new PC. Check this out. So I really liked this case. So this case is called the Deep Cool, and this is the thing I want to start out with because this is the thing that's going to house all of those expensive parts that you are going to buy. So the casing is really important. This is going to be housing all the parts that you will buy for your PC configuration. I chose the Deep Cool because it is awesome. It has 3 different mesh panels, which has a lot of airflow. It is a wide case. But it's still a mid-sized case. So while it's wider than some, it's still kind of, compact, and it's going to fit in a lot of spaces. I mean, just look at this thing. It's pretty cute. So what you can do is open it from 3 different sections. Makes for easy cleaning, good ventilation. I've been using it for several days now. I haven't gone... I've touched it a few times because I'm paranoid. Coming from a Mac, it always felt like my Mac was going to explode because all of those parts are right behind the screen because it's an all-in-one. So I would touch my Mac often, and it felt like fire. So to touch this and it to be so cool when I'm broadcasting and playing like Apex Legends or broadcasting and building a website is phenomenal. I would highly recommend this case. And here's a pretty good model of it all taken apart. So it's very configurable. It has sliding caskets in the back. Again, the mesh, it comes stock with 3 fans and its own little power source there. It is a great unit. I would 10 out of 10 recommend for keeping all of your nice pieces separate and cool. The coolest. No pun intended. So let's talk about the motherboard. I got the AERO series motherboards. One thing you gotta know as a newbie about buying a motherboard is some motherboards come equipped for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth while others don't. You do need to ask about it. Most times they will. You just ask. It's always better to ask and make sure that it does. So I got the AERO Z690. And it's great, honestly. So far, so good. It has been working flawlessly. I have no complaints about it. The coolest feature about this motherboard is the fact that it has a cooling solution in it. So I would just look out when you're buying a motherboard that it has these features in it to maximize performance, but also keep it cool. So all in all, I would recommend this motherboard. I have had no issues so far, but again, I'll make an update here in a little bit, maybe in a month or so as I continue using the PC. It's only been a few days, but I have been loving it. So this motherboard, awesome. 10 out of 10. So far, would recommend. I'll do an update if anything changes. So, I mean, if you know anything about motherboards, I'm pretty convinced this was a good purchase. I'm not here to really be told, oh, no, your PC is really bad, because I don't believe that for a second. So let me know what you think about this motherboard in the comments below. So here we go. I mean, stock, baby. This was the big boy I really needed. I really wanted. I wanted a processor that was just gonna chug and chug and chug, okay? So I did it. I went with the Intel Core i9 processor, and I'm thrilled. It has been so exciting. I play Apex Legends. I build websites. I'm doing all these sort of like, not so demanding activities, but on my Mac, I was sitting up there with like 40% utilization of my CPU. And on this, I have not peaked past 7.5, and it was only there for a second as I was kind of booting up and encoding this video, actually. So it's like, it was 4K, but I actually scaled it back to 1080p. So that should actually help a lot on my CPU, but I didn't even need to do that. It was being fine. 7% is a good place to be. So i9 Core, if you're going for the Intel, I mean, if you have the money, definitely do it. But I also know that there are processors that compete with this one for significantly less in the i7, i5 categories, but you just can't beat the i9 at this time for an Intel Core processor, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments if you have a different one. let's talk about this. So remember, back in the beginning of the video, I was telling you my PSU was kind of the reason I returned my pre-built and did a custom build. So the PSU is sort of the heart of your computer, because if you don't have a good PSU, if you don't have a PSU that is compatible with your configuration, you are running the risk of ruining your new investment. So you need to be careful. I would suggest 750 watts or higher, okay? That is gonna be where you're sitting if you're getting a bigger, kind of heavier workstation PC compared to that of something smaller, a smaller gaming PC or something. So just be mindful of that. I went with the Corsair 1000 just because, again, I am building this for longevity. I want to use it for a long time as my work computer. Okay, the storage. This is the thing that I was very concerned about. It comes with 1 terabyte. Now, I had 1 terabyte on my Mac, and I've had my Mac since 2017, and I have not filled it up. So with that said, I did not feel too weird about just getting a terabyte. This is going to be one of those first things that I do upgrade with more storage. I'm thinking of getting an additional solid state drive or something like that. So I chose the 980 SSD from Samsung, and it's perfect. So based on my specs, if you have any knowledge about, you know, how I should upgrade my storage, I'd love to hear it in the comments as well. But as for now, 1 terabyte is usually going to be, you know, perfect. I don't need much more of that. I also have external hard drives that I put a lot of my stuff on. So as far as what's on the computer, this is going to be great. Let's go through a few more specs before we close out this video on my new build. Okay, so fans are also really important because the temperature inside of your PC is something you need to watch out for. You don't want it to overheat or fry or any of that kind of stuff. So back to the case, right? It had those 3 things of mesh, 3 sides of mesh. That's important. And the second thing that you want to do that's also important is make sure that you have enough fans to cool the PC so that it works at optimal performance. So that's why I opted in to getting these fans. The Galahad, and I'm not sure I'm saying that right, is awesome. It comes with RGB fans, and that was actually something that wasn't on my list at all. But because I was buying these parts separately rather than buying a pre-build, I actually had some wiggle room to kind of upgrade some of my pieces. So that was also really cool, and another perk of building your own PC, doing your own research, buying the pieces independently, and having someone build it for you, or building it yourself if you're knowledgeable and confident to follow some tutorials on YouTube. So it's got an error rate of 69.17, which is awesome. It has a 5-year warranty on it, and it's just a good part. I would recommend it. My PC has been so cool to the touch. I don't know if this is just because I'm coming from a Mac, so I'm used to just touching fireballs all day, but it's beautiful. Last, but obviously not least, it is the graphics card! Yeah, baby! I got the GeForce RTX 380 Ti. Yes, baby. I was gonna get the 370 Ti. But why? You know? Why do that? When I could have the big kahuna. The mother of graphics cards. Again, it has a cooling system built into it. It is one of the best graphics cards on the market. And as I said in the beginning of this video, graphics cards prices are dropping. In fact, you can even find some of these guys on sale now from what they were, being sold as. They're still not at MSRP by any means, but in the next 6 months to a year, you'll see a 25% drop. So keep your eyes on the graphics cards prices because they're dropping. I can honestly tell you this graphics card is just absolutely nuts. Coming from a Mac though, anything would have been nuts and an incredible upgrade. But this just takes the cake. It even has a nice little feature that I can kind of play with a little bit for aesthetics. And the design is absolutely gorgeous. It looks good. I absolutely forgot to talk about my RAM for the first recording. So I got the Trident Gskill. So, and it's 32 gigs. So it's definitely better than the 16 gigs that I was wanting to get initially. So this is awesome. More than enough. I'm coming from a 4 gig RAM. So again, anything is going to be better than that. Yeah, so that was the last little component I totally spaced about. And I'm glad you made it to the end, and I have a few more tips before I let you go. A big shout out to Chris from the Tustin Micro Center. He really did help me so much in creating this build, and it was amazing working with him. I had a list of things that I needed, that I wanted, and he made it happen, and he made it happen in a really big and beautiful way. So my final tip here is to talk to a professional. Don't be afraid to talk to people at Micro Center, at your local, computer store. Be mindful, though, that most of these guys are paid on commission. So I was really happy when Chris was walking me through the things that I needed, the things that I don't want to, skimp out on, the things that it's okay to not, get the RGB thing on this one if you're getting quality here. So just be mindful about that when you are purchasing your individual pieces for the build. And if you want to use all of my specs, they're completely compatible in the configuration. And again, I do video creation. I dabbling in gaming recently, and a lot of editing videos, a lot of creating learning modules, that kind of thing. The PC has been running so smoothly. So if you planned on getting a new computer, the prices for individual PC parts are expected to drop very soon. They have been in some cases. In some situations, prices have already begun dropping, and they will continue to drop to up to 25%. So if you're passionate about wanting to upgrade your PC, it might be the time to do that soon. Thank you so much for making it at the end of this video. Remember, life is too short. Find something that you love and are passionate about and chase it. If you like this video, want to see more content by me, you know what to do. You can check out that video. You can hit the bell to be notified. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's it. Bye.